Welcome to the online training on cross-border e-commerce for SMEs exports, opportunities, challenges, and policy implications. This is the sixth and final topic. The topic of this presentation is Support SMEs Export Through Cross-Border E-Commerce, Policy Recommendations. And it's been prepared by Tengfei Wang, Jiang Wang, and Elliot Carpenter, in conjunction with other SCAP projects regarding cross-border e-commerce. When we talk about cross-border e-commerce, inevitably, we may need to mention the names of specific companies to serve as examples. However, it's important to point out that the mention of firm names and commercial products does not imply the endorsement of the United Nations. This applies to all training modules. At the end of this module, learners should be able to understand the key policy recommendations for policymakers in promoting SMEs export through e-commerce. As an example of the actions that governments can take to support SME exports, we'll revisit the barriers that SMEs face when engaging in international trade that we discussed in presentation 2, as well as the strategies that they may employ and the ways their governments can support them in overcoming said barriers. Firstly, in regard to a lack of market information, an SME may try to overcome this barrier by conducting independent market research or by hiring a consultant. Governments can support this effort by using their connections and networks with other countries, such as embassies or their own internal chamber of commerce, to help facilitate the dissemination of market information to SMEs. Secondly, SMEs may try to overcome their limited human capacity by investing in training programs. Governments can help SMEs build human capital by providing tailored training programs and other educational material to support SMEs' efforts. Thirdly, regarding a lack of financial support, SMEs may seek alternative financing options from traditional methods to conduct trade, such as acquiring a loan from a cross-border e-commerce platform. This issue is a bit more complicated relative to other government support methods, as choosing some SMEs to receive financial support over others, as you can probably imagine, can quickly become a risky political move. This is coupled with questions regarding who's responsible for the loss if SMEs who benefit from financial support default on their loans. Fundamentally, if a government does decide to financially support SMEs, it should be done in a way that maximizes social value and publicly demonstrates how other SMEs should get involved in cross-border e-commerce. If an SME produces a relatively uncompetitive product, it can be a very difficult issue for the SME to resolve internally. This issue can stem from external factors, such as the ebb and flow of market demand, or it can be as simple as their competitors just producing a better product at a lower cost. This necessitates that SME be more innovative, but this is easier said than done. Governments can help SMEs in some regards to this barrier, but it requires them to be highly informed on the factors influencing the local situation. As such, governments can facilitate the dissemination of overseas market information to struggling SMEs to help them be more dynamic and innovative. But the effectiveness of this support is highly reliant on SMEs' ability to use the information in meaningful ways. Many small and medium enterprises may lack a way to effectively market their goods in their target environment. SMEs may try to overcome this issue by utilizing digital market tools such as Google Ad Space, or partner with a cross-border e-commerce platform. Governments can help SMEs in this regard by organizing business exhibitions to showcase national products, thus helping to curate a national brand. SMEs that are unfamiliar with the import procedures that their consumers face may collaborate with cross-border e-commerce platforms that have more experience with this issue and provide importing services to their target market. However, this may come at a significant cost. Governments may offer support by way of organizing programs that assist SMEs with export procedures, such as document curation. Additionally, SMEs may suffer from a general lack of support from their government, which they may try to resolve by establishing communication channels with their government so that they are more aware of the general needs and the importance of small and medium enterprises' involvement in international trade. Governments may use cross-border e-commerce as a new strategy, as opposed to traditional trade model, to improve SMEs' involvement in international trade. Finally, the goods SMEs produce may be uncompetitive in their target market due to high tariffs. While it's unlikely that individual SMEs will be able to bypass the revenue strategies of foreign governments, they may be successful in lobbying their own government to negotiate and lower tariffs. Governments can support SMEs through this channel by negotiating trade agreements with other governments or by offering a tariff relief program. The large number of challenges that SMEs face when exporting through cross-border e-commerce means that governments need to take a multifaceted approach. Focusing on addressing only one aspect may not yield the desired effect. On the other hand, any government, regardless of its size, can adapt a holistic but selective strategy for supporting SME exports. This presentation argues that, despite all the challenges that SMEs face when participating in international trade, through cross-border e-commerce, any government, regardless of the size of its economy, can adopt a focused strategy to support SMEs' participation in international trade. This can be done through a developed cross-border e-commerce system. Firstly, a government may target a specific product for export, and products that have an appeal in international markets. Secondly, a government may target the main market where the consumers buy such products. And finally, a government needs to target the cross-border e-commerce platform. Ideally, such a platform would also provide a comprehensive services such as logistics, customs clearance, warehousing, storage, among others to support SMEs exports. Key examples of this strategy in action include Rwanda exporting coffee to China. First, the Rwandan government focused on supporting the export of a key national product, coffee. Second, it targeted a large market in China where more and more consumers were starting to drink coffee. And third, it targeted a partnership with important Chinese e-commerce platforms such as Tmall Global. Introducing pilot projects before upscaling can be a slow but useful way to promote the development of cross-border e-commerce. Given the challenges in its development, setbacks and failures regarding cross-border e-commerce should be expected. By introducing pilot projects, policymakers and other stakeholders can deepen their understanding on the subject through learning by doing. In this regard, the experience of China can serve as a useful reference. Since the establishment of the first comprehensive cross-border e-commerce pilot zone in March of 2015, as we discussed in presentation 4, China has gradually approved the establishment of additional pilot zones in 165 cities. Small economies should be actively involved in participating in global and regional trade agreements which cover cross-border e-commerce, which has been receiving increased attention. For example, a group of 71 World Trade Organization members agreed at the 11th Ministerial Conference in 2017 to initiate exploratory works towards future WTO negotiations on trade-related aspects of e-commerce. In 2019, 76 WTO members confirmed in a joint statement their intention to commence these negotiations. They agreed to, quote, seek to achieve a high-standard outcome that builds on existing WTO agreements and frameworks with the participation of as many WTO members as possible. In Asia and the Pacific, provisions of cross-border e-commerce have been included in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, an agreement and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP. These provisions cover areas on enabling e-commerce, openness in e-commerce, trust in e-commerce, and cost-cutting issues. All of these measures facilitate SMEs' participation in international trade. By participating in negotiating global and regional trade agreements, small economies have the opportunity to voice their concerns on the key challenges of SMEs by their countries in taking part in international trade through cross-border e-commerce. The negotiation may cover areas that reduce at least 4 types of barriers, including procedural, governmental, business environment, as well as tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade. Fundamentally, cross-border e-commerce is largely underpinned by cross-border paperless trade. In this connection, all countries in Asia and the Pacific may take advantage of the Framework Agreement on Facilitation of Cross-Border Paperless Trade in Asia and the Pacific, or CPTA. CPTA is a multilateral treaty deposited with the Secretary-General of the United Nations, which entered into force in 2021. It was adopted by UN ESCAP on 19th of May 2016. A group of more than 25 countries participate in the development and negotiation of the CPTA between 2012 and 2016. It is designed to be an inclusive and enabling platform that will benefit all participating economies, regardless of where they stand in terms of trade facilitation or single window/paperless trade implementation. Achieving cross-border paperless trade in Asia and the Pacific is expected to cut trade costs of economies in the region by about 25%, greatly enhancing trade competitiveness of collaborating countries while increasing government revenue. Thank you for your attention. For further information, please refer to these reports prepared by ESCAP. For any inquiries, please contact escap-tiid@un.org. We're keen to improve this training. Therefore, if you have any suggestions or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us.